I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, a project along San Diego's waterfront is one step closer to becoming a reality. Soaring heat has SDG&E urging customers to unplug, how it can save you money. Plus, the international game of soccer helping some players on and off the field rebuild their lives after escaping their home countries. And an environmental rebirth off the coast of California, a sneak preview of Big Blue Live. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Hi, good evening. Thanks for joining us. The heat wave gripping Southern California peaked today. National Weather Service issued a heat advisory through early evening. Some inland areas around San Diego County top 100 degrees before noon. The heat is putting pressure on the state's electric grid. SDG&E is urging customers to reduce power by unplugging appliances. The utility says it has enough resources to meet demand, but customers can earn a bill credit for every kilowatt saved through its Reduce Your Use program. Toasty temperatures will continue this weekend, leading some San Diegans to seek shelter in cool swimming pools. But KPBS reporter Claire Trageser says an unexpected shutdown has kept one popular pool in Balboa Park closed all summer.
The Bud Kern swimming pool was supposed to be closed until the end of April for repairs. 4 months later, it's still closed. Now the city says it will open in October. City Councilman Todd Gloria, whose district includes Balboa Park, says the delays are unacceptable.
The good news is I believe we'll be able to reopen it in a few weeks' time, but the long-term permanent fixes that are necessary are still months, if not years away, and I've got to have to keep, shaking the tin can at City Hall to make sure we get the dollars to actually do that.
Damage to the pool's drain kept it closed all summer. It's costing $150,000 to make the fix. Claire Trageser, KPBS News.
In Mission Valley, San Diego police shot and killed a man early today near a CVS store off Mission Center Road and Westside Drive. Police say the man was armed with a box cutter and reportedly chasing down CVS employees with it. Police say an officer shot the man after he advanced and ignored orders to put it down. The officer was wearing a body camera. It will be turned over to the district attorney's office for further investigation. The family of a man fatally shot by a San Diego police officer has filed a new claim, this time naming Police Chief Shelley Zimmerman as a defendant. The shooting happened in the Midway area last April. Our media partner 10 News says the amended complaint focuses on what it calls a code of silence at the department and questions how the investigation was handled. KPBS and other news outlets have filed a court challenge to make public security camera footage of that shooting. A man who killed a San Diego police officer during a 1978 traffic stop was granted parole today. 54-year-old Jesus Cesena was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in the death of Officer Archie Buggs. But his sentence was later reduced since he was a minor at the time of the murder. The state parole board denied Cesena parole 13 times until today. San Diego's district attorney Bonnie Dumanis is calling on Governor Brown to reverse the decision. President Obama's anti-nuclear deal with Iran now has the backing of 2 San Diego County representatives. Congressman Scott Peters announced his support today of the controversial agreement, joining Representative Susan Davis. Earlier this week, protesters urged both Democrats to support the deal. Congressman Juan Vargas has rejected it. Republicans Darrell Issa and Duncan Hunter will likely oppose it as well. The plan aims to keep Iran from building a nuclear bomb in exchange for billions of dollars in sanctions relief. But critics say it makes too many concessions. A plan to redevelop part of San Diego's waterfront cleared a major hurdle this week. The Navy and State Coastal Commission reached a settlement over the long-awaited billion-dollar Navy Broadway complex. It includes a retail and office space, a regional headquarters for the Navy, a hotel, museum, and a park. The project still needs to overcome one more legal barrier before construction. Changing the landscape of the neighborhood. The ribbon cut today on San Diego's first public park to open in the East Village since Park in the Park opened at Petco 11 years ago. Fault Line Park gets its name from the Rose Canyon Fault that runs nearby. Visitors can even look through one of two large stainless steel art pieces to detect if the fault is moving. But no worries, the property is seismically safe.
The fault line actually is within the park footprint, and the tower development is set back far enough that it is seismically safe for the residential development that's going to take place, the two twin towers.
The park is part of a larger development you see there in the East Village at Island and 14th Street. One of two twin towers, 46 stories high, is now open, offering great downtown views. 72 units have been set aside for low-income renters. Despite water struggles, California farmers had a record 2014. The federal government says the agriculture industry generated about $50 billion last year, but farmers say the figures don't represent profits. Farming experts say some crops such as almonds were priced exceptionally high, and changes in the world economy are another factor.
The China market's just hit the wall. They've shifted their currency, as some other countries have. So now all of a sudden, to buy California or United States products, they're going to be paying a premium. So exports to those countries are going to be down. So that's going to drop the price here in this country. So 2014 is going to be a high water mark for a couple of years.
And this year is expected to be more dismal for the ag industry. Nearly 1 out of 5 new cancer cases in the U.S. now involve someone who had the disease before. Kathy Matheson of the Associated Press explains how a second cancer can affect treatment options.
Please, God, send healing now.
The keepsakes in Judith Bernstein's home show a life well lived, despite battling cancer multiple times.
Skin, lymphoma, breast, lung, esophageal, and that was followed by thyroid. You know, it's just dumb luck.
Bernstein is an extreme example of the increasing incidence of second cancers. That means a completely new cancer, not a recurrence or spread of the original disease. A recent study found about 19% of cancers in the U.S. are second or more cases. In the 1970s, it was only 9%.
Sometimes you're at risk for getting another cancer because of the previous one you had, but other times you're cured of your first cancer and you're just at risk, like the normal population, for getting a different cancer.
In other words, more cancer survivors live long enough to get it again because the risk of cancer rises with age. A second cancer can limit treatment options because the body can only take so much radiation and certain chemo drugs. But science is improving.
The treatments themselves have gotten much, much better over the years, and they're much, much more sophisticated. It's allowed us to effectively treat a person more than one time.
A second diagnosis can be more traumatizing for patients and caregivers.
Many sleepless nights. Why? I was watching her to make sure she was breathing. It hasn't been easy for me or for her.
Bernstein recently had 2 malignant tumors removed from her eyelid. She's currently undergoing treatment for her 8th cancer, another lymphoma. Kathy Matheson, Associated Press, Philadelphia.
Record enrollment for Cal State San Marcos. More than 14,000 students signed up for the fall semester, a 9% increase over last year. Welcome news at the university. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary. San Diego welcomes an average of 3,500 refugees a year. Peggy Pico tells us about a program helping some of them rebuild their lives through soccer.
U.S. soccer star Landon Donovan teamed up with Yala San Diego this week to host a one-day soccer camp. The nonprofit group incorporates soccer training, tutoring, college prep courses, and other educational programs to motivate refugee and immigrant youth. Joining me are Yala's executive director, Mark Cajon, and soccer director, Ryan Shira. And Mark, you founded Yala in 2009. What inspired you to gather these kids together and form a soccer league?
I think it goes back to my childhood, or my life, actually, before my childhood. My parents got married the year before a civil war in their country started in Beirut. And when I was 9 years old, I ended up in San Diego as a 4th grader. Playing sports was a huge motivation for me. It was like stability when everything else was changing around me. And I ended up playing college football out in Kansas, and when I came back, my first job was working with refugees, and I was resettling them in San Diego. So I saw hundreds of kids that were really struggling, trapped in their apartments, and that's kind of where it started, why I knew that this would be really good for them.
What are some of the personal struggles or some of the key struggles that young refugees face?
You know, I think a lot of the things that they're facing is in school, because they have an interrupted formal education. We have a girl that we just went on a full-ride scholarship to UC Irvine. She missed grades 1 through 4, was living in and escaped Iraq, went to Syria, had to escape again. And so getting her caught up was really difficult, but now she just started her first week at UC Irvine. And so these are the kind of things that they're struggling with, but other than that, I think it's being isolated in their little apartments and then not being able to get outside and play and have a real childhood.
All right. And speaking of playing, Ryan, you left your law practice to pursue soccer.
That's right.
Why do you think soccer is especially important to these kids?
Soccer's massive for them. Soccer's the hook that brings them into our program, and they love the sport. They've played it in their home countries, and some of them come. They don't have a great command of English quite yet, but soccer is a universal language. It speaks to them, and it's easy to communicate with the kids through soccer. And
what does it mean for the kids here to get coached by professional soccer players like Landon Donovan?
I think it's a fantastic opportunity for them. I really encourage them, always stress, work hard, work hard, work hard. And I think for them to see Landon Donovan and Stuart Holden and Brian Ching as ordinary people, but they were able to achieve extraordinary things through hard work. And I really hope that this opportunity ignites that passion in my players to take the game as far as they can.
All right. And Mark, y'all's motto is soccer is the hook, college is the goal. That's what do you mean by that?
Well, CHIP just came out with a report that put the communities of San Diego into 150 different communities. El Cajon had the biggest disparity and the lowest income. So the numbers don't lie too. 1 in 3 refugees are dropping out of high school, and 1 in 4 Latino students in California are dropping out as well. So we're using soccer as the hook to get the kids in. And we have the study to play policy instead of the pay to play policy, which is really fantastic. So the kids have to go to our academy and be dedicated in order to play soccer.
How many kids are enrolled in the YALA program, and what kind of outcomes are you seeing?
We've served 277 kids this year from all over the Middle East, Latin America, Africa, and Asia. We've used a great state-of-the-art academic technology platform that we're using in our academy, and it's been really fantastic. This year, 78.6% of our kids increased 1 full grade level in reading comprehension and academic vocabulary in just the first 4 months of this year. So it's been really amazing. And we had 21 of our 22 seniors got accepted into 4-year schools. The 22nd kid was not accepted, not because he wasn't a hard-working kid. In fact, he's one of the hardest working, wants to be a doctor, hope mine in the future. But he couldn't get his sealed transcripts from Syria. And these are the kind of things that these kids are struggling with.
That you have to work with on that.
But the thing I'm most excited about before we move on, we got $19,000 per kid for free money to go to university. And this is something that our staff worked really, really hard on because we don't want to send them to go into debt.
Right, so once they move forward on, well, there's a whole lot of more information on YALA soccer and other educational programs at kpbs.org. Mark Cajon and Ryan Shira, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
From soccer to baseball, it was close, but Sweetwater Valley All-Stars got eliminated from the Little League World Series last night. The team lost 7-9 to the West All-Stars from Texas. That Texas team moves on to tomorrow's championship game against a team from Pennsylvania. Sweetwater is the 11th team from San Diego County to qualify for the Little League World Series. A special homecoming ceremony planned in the South Bay for Tuesday.
The man who killed a San Diego cop when he was 17 is eligible for parole. Chief Zimmerman seems to be an expert at withholding information from the public. And how many mentally ill people have been shot by police in the U.S.? We have no idea. Join us for the KPBS Roundtable tonight at 8:30.
A wildlife success story off the California coast. Big Blue Live explores the environmental rebirth at Monterey Bay. Dr. M. Sanjan shows us what's behind this live event on KPBS.
PBS and the BBC will come together to do something that we've never really done before, which is bringing this incredible natural history spectacle together with live production technology that really will take the audience deep within the ecosystem of the edge of the Pacific, of Monterey Bay. This place where this incredible collection of marine mammals and wildlife gather once a year for what can only be termed as one of the greatest marine wildlife spectacles on the planet.
Oh, look at that! You're going to have excitement because you don't really know what you're going to see. We're predicting some things. We think we have a pretty good line on it. We've got great scientists working on it.
These Pacific white-sided dolphins are probably the best indicator of quite how well the environment's doing here. You sometimes get pods of as many as 1,000 animals. Each one of those is eating kilos and kilos of bait fish every single day. That gives you a little bit of an idea of quite how much fish there is here.
Gray whales come through here. There are dolphins, blue whales. They're the largest animal on the planet. Getting in front of them, getting to the right place to be able to film them come by, that's going to be tricky to do.
You know they're here, we just jolly well can't find them. Oh look! There is one. Actually that was a lot easier than I was expecting. There's a whale right there.
We probably have the greatest concentration of marine mammals on the planet assembling here for this really narrow window of time. And we're really lucky to be there and have the chance to film them. We have everything at our fingertips. We're going to have underwater cameras, we're going to have a plane in the sky, we're going to have multiple boats. Any technology is available for being able to film underwater, up from the air, or on the water, we're using. You can watch the show not just on television, but also real-time, live on pbs.org/Big Blue Live. You watch it that way, you not only get to see the show, but you also get to interact with the show.
This is true reality television. I mean, anything could happen at any moment. An in-the-moment experience that brings the audience in as an active participant.
Whoa! Absolutely amazing! He caught a fish! He caught a fish right in front of us! How good was that?
Monterey Bay is a place where the wind pulls off the ocean water from the surface, bringing up nutrients from below to replace that. And when that happens, all the animals come into this area to feed. And because there's a cliff-like edge off of Monterey Bay, we get a lot of the deeper water coming up very close to shore, which means we don't have to go far to see all those cool animals out there.
This is an incredible success story. I mean, this is one of those places that we really put some effort into. If you give nature a chance, nature comes back. And by doing a live event, I think we bring that pulse of nature back to the foreground.
It's a dolphin 2 feet away. Look at this. Now you've got to look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And I was actually worried that we might not find anything. And people were like, how can you do the show and you don't know what's going to show up? But that's the great thing about this place. Things show up.
Big Blue Live debuts Monday night at 5 o'clock on KPBS, followed by a special broadcast of Evening Edition at 6. Well, when you think of prison life, dogs joining inmates behind bars doesn't usually come to mind. Reporter Lonnie Rivera explains.
This isn't your usual walk in the park.
Good boy.
And these two guys are indeed an unlikely pair. But this Labrador retriever named Cody and inmate Andrew Silva are building a relationship.
He's jumping on you and so loving, and it just melts you away, you know. So that's what it feels like. All these barbed wires and gates, they just disappear when you see him.
Silva was selected for a dog training program at the California Healthcare Facility for inmates in Stockton, California. Here at this Northern California prison, they'll teach basic obedience training and socialization skills to these puppies. The dogs were especially bred for the Canines for Companion Independence program. Eventually, they'll become service animals at no cost for people with disabilities.
To know that he's going to go to a child and he's going to go to someone that has a disability is very rewarding. And, you know, I me personally, I did a lot of taking in my life, and this is just one big step to show that I can give back.
We tend to get dogs that are very well behaved with some very nice skills. The inmates tend to be a little bit competitive and work very hard on all of the dog's skills.
This is the first year for the Canine Companions program here at the Stockton prison. The dogs will stay here about 16 months before they move on for more training. Eventually, they'll learn skills such as opening doors and retrieving dropped items. Silva takes in each day knowing Cody will eventually have to move on.
Yeah, it will be hard to let him go.
It's a dog training program giving back behind and beyond bars. In Stockton, Lonnie Rivera reporting.
Well, on the next News Hour, we look at a major shift in New Orleans schools 10 years after Katrina. That's Friday on the PBS News Hour.
As summer winds down, Peggy Pico has more on how you can sneak in a last-minute escape.
Joining me with some end-of-summer deals and weekend getaway tips is Archana Ram, travel blogger, staff writer at San Diego Magazine, and contributing author to Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast Traveler. And Archana, we're just about a week away from Labor Day. What kinds of last-minute travel bargains are still around?
Well, the best places to look are places like Groupon. They actually have a section devoted to last-minute deals. They might be flight-inclusive packages, hotel-only. There's a good variety, whether you want something more budget-friendly, maybe something more luxurious. And also another new app I love is called Hotel Tonight. It's a free mobile app, and you can book a hotel for literally tonight if you wanted to, or 7 days out, and it gives you great curated options from basic options to luxe hotel rooms, and it's very easy. A few swipes and you have your hotel room booked.
Just like that, from your phone. Now, you wrote a column called 52 Weekend Getaways. What are a few of your nearby favorites?
I love Ojai. That is my favorite place probably in the world. It's a few hours east of LA. It's about 4 hours from here, and it's very peaceful, not very flashy, very much focused on yoga and healthy eating, and we got a great Airbnb in the woods there, very dog friendly as well. I also love the Channel Islands. It's just about an hour ferry from Ventura, so not very far at all, but it makes you feel very far away. They're 5 ecologically preserved islands with native species, water sport activities, so it's very much true definition of weekend getaway.
Sure, and you get to ride a boat over to the Catalina Islands there. Now, San Diego is an obvious choice for staycation. What are some end of the summer must-see and do spots here?
There's a great festival coming up next weekend, actually. It's called the Brew and Food Festival. So there are more than 20 local brewers, more than 70 actually, and 20 tastemakers, people like the Baja chef Javier Plasencia, and there'll be bites, sips, outdoors. It's in the Waterfront Park in San Diego, so that's a great event for the end of the summer. One of my favorite places is the Meditation Gardens in Encinitas. It overlooks Moonlight Beach, and it's a very beautiful, peaceful place. It's free also by donation. And of course, there are popular places like La Jolla Cove. You can go snorkeling and kayaking. And one of my favorite things to do is to book a hotel room in the city I live in, just to do something a little bit different. And Kona Kai Resort, it's on the tip of Shelter Island. They just had a whole renovation. They have new rooms. They have a brand new spa. So a little treat for yourself.
Just a little, that's very close and local. What about family oriented? You mentioned the beach or the cove or something like that. Are there specific deals or things out there for people with families in San Diego?
Definitely. I mean, all of October, that's a little bit a ways out, but all of October is kids eat, play, free. So, you know, whether you're going to a museum, you're going out to a restaurant, that's a great deal for families. As well as, you know, Disneyland is not too far away. So if you wanted to do a little weekend getaway to St. Regis Monarch Beach in Dana Point, they have a Disneyland package. It includes mouse ears, mouse-shaped pancakes, chauffeured transportation. Kind of can't end the summer without going to Disneyland.
That kind of sounds like fun, even for adults. Now, even if you stay in San Diego, it still can be pricey to do a staycation here. Any tips on how to do a staycation without breaking the bank?
You know, I do Groupon all the time here. I've done stand-up paddleboarding. I've done biking around Coronado, all through Groupon. I get great deals, and it's a new way to see my city and experience my city. So don't save it just when visitors come. Do it for yourself when you're staycationing.
Yeah, you can do it even that same day, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to do it book too far in advance. Now, you're a travel writer, and you've seen lots of vacationers from around the world. Why do you think it's important to take a break, even if it's at home? Take a break from work. Take a vacation day.
I mean, beyond the fact that it's fun, studies have shown that productivity is boosted when we take a break. It's not good for us, especially given the information overload we have with our phones and computers these days, to not take a break and give our brains the rest that it deserves. And I'm a poster child for the weekend getaway. I used to live in New York City, and I took a weekend getaway to San Diego. I fell in love with it, and I decided to move here.
And here you are.
So here I am.
That's excellent. All right, San Diego Magazine's Archana Ram, thank you so much for the tips.
Thank you for having me.
At least one more day of excessive heat and humidity, then a gradual cool down for San Diego. Morning clouds along the coast with a mix of sun and clouds by afternoon. Mid-80s, back into the 70s. Look at that by Monday. Upper 90s tomorrow for the Inland Valley, then a cool down. Plenty of sunshine in the mountain areas with the desert sizzling under triple-digit heat. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a cool, great weekend.